What's going on, guys? It's Lana from The Snap, joined with my co-host, Mac, and we're talking some league-winning trades. It is trade deadline week for a lot of you, so make sure to get us in the comments. If you have trades and you need some advice, let us know in the comments because we answer every subscriber question. So smash that subscribe button. We're trying to get to 3K. We're almost there, Mac. We've got some players that we're targeting, players we're trading away to try to give you the best advice we can to hopefully win a fantasy title. Mac, how are you doing today? We've got a lot to talk about.
I'm good, brother. Trade deadline is upon us, at least in the leagues that I play in. So this show that we're going to do tonight is more so us talking through what should I make happen in the next 2 days? What moves can I make? How can I position myself to win my league? That's what's going to come down to. So this is kind of like an open diary, let's just say, today between Lando and I. I know we've both made some trades this week already. Happy to talk about those. Happy to get into moves that we are considering making, but most importantly, guys that we like rest of season that could help you win your league. So, like Landon said, if you're with us on YouTube, go ahead and pop your questions in the chat. We will get to them once we are done our little segment here. It'll probably take about a half hour, and then we'll get to yours live Q&A.
Mac, I did a nice intro there, and I didn't. My mic was coming from my computer, not my mic. So apologies.
I thought you sounded a little different. I was gonna text you, but I wasn't sure. But I didn't catch it. It's like your audio was different once we hit record.
Brutal. Anyways, we're back. It's all right. Welcome in to everyone coming in here. Liam, BC Gamer Kid, Michael. Like Mac just said, we'll get to all your questions later. And if you're watching this after the fact, get us in the comments and we'll respond to you to help you figure out those trades. Who is your number one trade target right now, Mac?
Why don't I just go through and do running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, quarterbacks if we're gonna do that?
Yeah, let's go. Let's start with the running back position because that's really what everyone wants to know about. Running backs, I mean, everyone loves a good running back, and they help you win your league, right? And that's what the fantasy community loves.
I'm gonna throw this banner up on the screen. It's gonna be no surprise to anybody who's watched the show for any period of time, but I still believe that DeAndre Swift is a league-winning running back.
DeAndre Swift. People are panicked. If y'all are watching this right now or in the chat, let us know if you've got DeAndre Swift and what your feeling is about him, because his snap share is low, but when he's on the field, he's been targeted.
Well, I mean, it's doubled in the last week. So
this is true. Does the trend continue? Does it double again?
Look, I'll acknowledge. I'll go 8 Mile here right now. I understand the scenario that DeAndre Swift finds himself in right now. He is underutilized back-to-back weeks, 16% snap share, 32% snap share. Yes, he doubled from 2 weeks ago to this week, but he's not being used currently. I think that the Lions are trying to spare him, but at some point he's going to return to his workload. I don't know why he shouldn't. You got to get him some quality reps. He can't go that long without playing. Needless to say, DeAndre Swift, part of the reason why you kind of feel like this take is is Max serious, is because he's been so bad. But because he's been so bad, you can go out and buy him for literally nothing.
The price is low.
The price is so low. You might even be able to go up to somebody and say, hey, man, what's your temperature on Swift? And it's I'll take anything for him. It's well, I'll trade you Isaiah Pacheco. You might be able to get him that low, legitimately. Hey, Pacheco got, what did he get this week? 18 carries?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hey, Pacheco got 18 carries, are you interested? I've seen crazier deals get done. The point is he's basically free for the right trade. And I think that someone that could help you win your league is somebody who can turn it around and return to form and be elite. And DeAndre Swift's ceiling is still one of the highest in the league. He catches the ball so eloquently. He is heavily involved when fully healthy. And I know this team has the confidence in him. It's just, do they put him on the field and in a position to do so? Jamal Williams isn't going anywhere. Let's acknowledge that. But even with DeAndre Swift playing like 16% of snaps, 30% of snaps, he's still on the field for high value touches. So even though it feels like his floor is 0, it's really not. And his ceiling is sky high. Just flash yourself back to week 1 when he got a full workload. He was like, I can't remember what his finish was off the top of my head, but he was a top 10 running back, no doubt. I believe he had 28 fantasy points. Involved in the pass game, involved in the running game. Go get DeAndre Swift for peanuts. Because I guarantee you the owner that has him in your league is very frustrated, probably losing, and might sell him for anybody they can use this week. So I'm targeting DeAndre Swift this week. I'm going to double down on my current positions because I still believe he has that league winning upside, and he's the cheapest he's ever been.
Yeah, they do have a good strength of schedule to finish the season. This week isn't great against the Giants. Then Buffalo has been giving it up to the tight end or to the running back. Then Jacksonville, Mini, the Jets, Carolina, and Chicago to finish. Those 2 matchups to finish in Week 17 are some of the best. And that what we're hoping is that he has that full workload that we want, and they use him the way they want. Now it's worrisome to project competent coaching. We've been burned by that before. It's hard. That's obviously what we would do, is put the best talent on the field, and that is clearly DeAndre Swift. But sometimes they make dumb mistakes, and if they keep using him the way they are, I mean, it's going to be worrisome for Swift. But
to piggyback on that point that you made about his playoff schedule, week 16 and 17, the Bears and the Panthers. Currently, the Bears and the Panthers 4th and 5th most points allowed to fantasy running backs at 24 and 24.5 points per game. So they are giving it up on the ground. And should DeAndre be back in current form by then, he could do some damage.
I do want to touch on actually, no, let's keep on going with the running backs we're targeting right now.
Who's your league winning running back for rest of season, Lando? Who do you like?
I mean, Derrick Henry.
Well, thanks, Lando. Great
take. Shocker. I mean, if you have Derrick Henry, you're probably winning. And if you have him, he's got the best strength of schedule to finish the season. But he's next to impossible to acquire. That's why Mack had a great option for DeAndre Swift. But I've brought it up a few weeks consecutively. We did a video on him, and David Montgomery looks like a really, really good option. The Bears are running hot right now, and they just put Khalil Herbert on IR.
Yes, they did.
So
big news, shocker.
Yeah, I didn't expect him to be that. Now he got it. I think it was a head injury, and he got ruled out right away. So that was concerning. Obviously, since Tua, they've been taking a lot more care with head injuries and concussions. But Monty was splitting a lot of work with Herbert. And this past week, it was still only 66% snap share, even with Herbert going out. So this is really good news for David Montgomery. And the Chicago Bears, like I just mentioned, are on fire. Justin Fields, we'll talk about later on. Atlanta, the Jets, Green Bay. Bye week coming up, which isn't great in week 14. You hate that week 14 bye. And then kind of a tough playoff schedule, Philly and Buffalo, but then Detroit championship week, which is also really, really good. I mean, we just saw, he didn't have a great game this past week, and maybe that's why you can get him cheap as well. He's the number 33 overall running back in PPR and standard leagues. He's not really catching the football that much. So I think he can be a throw-in piece. He's not a guy necessarily that people are holding on to too tight. You don't have to pay up for him. I wouldn't go and offer the world for David Montgomery, but he will be a reliable piece that you'll be able to start. If he gets in the end zone, you're laughing. The problem is that the best running back on the team is the quarterback. We've dealt with that with Singletary before. And in Baltimore, we've dealt with this issue, but I still think their usage and his usage will be good enough to target him and let you really give a good go to the fantasy playoffs.
It always helps too when you can acquire a player off a bad game.
Yeah.
You know, it's like David Montgomery had single-digit carries, wasn't involved in the passing game. It was like the Justin Fields show. It was what it was. Now that Khalil Herbert has gone to IR, he's not to say he's the only option, but like he's going to just be in line for a lot more touches. Like they had sort of converted themselves to a 2-back system with complementary roles, and now it's just going to be by default all Montgomery's work. I did want to bring up that the Week 14 bye is outrageous. It's one of the most ridiculous things. The NFL's done it once again. Week 12, we'll see no buys. And then in week 14, we'll have the Falcons, Bears, Packers, Colts, Saints, and Commanders on bye. Some really, really big fantasy pieces off the table, especially at running back. Aaron Jones, Jonathan Taylor, and Alvin Kamara, along with your guy, David Montgomery, not going to be available. It's just kind of crazy how you have 6 teams on bye the week before the fantasy playoffs.
That's bananas. I don't know what the NFL is doing, but I mean, clearly they're not fans of fantasy football. So,
no.
I want to ask you about some running backs that have a muddy backfield, and
Yeah.
no one stands out to me that is a must buy, and maybe none of them are. I just want your honest opinion.
Sure.
Baltimore, really good strength of schedule. Kenyon Drake looked pretty good in Gus Edwards' absence, but Gus seems to be back this week.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do, or is it hands off that backfield?
I don't know that you can roll anyone with extreme confidence, but Kenyon Drake seems to be the lead back in that core. But it's the same kind of thing with David Montgomery. It's like at any time Lamar can take over a game with his legs.
Yeah. And
Gus looked good with the ball, very efficient as usual.
Mm-hmm.
I think Kenyon Drake is the one to own. I'm just not sure that I feel confident enough to go and trade for him.
If Gus remained out, different story. But he's back.
Sure.
And now with both of them back, it's going to be so hard. If Drake was out, Gus would be a pretty good start. Denver, good schedule.
Hands off.
The Chiefs, good schedule.
Yeah, also hands off. Like the Clyde Edwards-Helaire donut last week, 4 snaps, 0 touches, sort of out of nowhere. Doesn't really make a lot of sense. But what we've seen the entirety of the year is that it is a rotation of Pacheco, McKinnon, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. This being the first game, we haven't seen CEH involved. But Pacheco got the work, 18 carries, I believe. McKinnon was involved. I, again, don't have any confidence because this team is a team that only runs it about 30% of the time. But if I had to roster one, I think it'd have to be Pacheco at this point.
The Jets.
Yeah, I think not to bring his name up, but I do think that James Robinson is a sneaky buy low.
Yeah.
The Jets have a really good schedule, right?
Carter looked quite good against Buffalo last week, but they're going to split a lot of work.
They will.
And then I do need to mention the Miami Dolphins because they're a 50-50 split. They both got in the end zone this past week. I had them both ranked in the top 24. And one of our loyal listeners, Snap Army Joker, was like, wow, I'm glad I didn't drop Jeff Wilson. I said, it's almost like a hedge, to be honest.
Sure.
Like,
yeah.
You don't know which one's going to be good. It turns out they were both good, which I kind of lucked out on. But you can't sit one of them. You don't feel like you have to start both right now.
It's like last year with DeAndre Swift and Jamal Williams.
Yeah.
Right? Jamal Williams vulturing touchdowns, DeAndre getting all of the intermediate work is just like, well, one's just a PPR machine and one's a touchdown dependent option. But I mean, if the Lions are scoring, they're both going to be relevant.
And the Miami offense is one of the best in the league.
Yeah.
So they're scoring like no one's business. And their defense is bad, which is great as well.
If you missed our declaration announcement at the beginning of the stream, we are going to get to the comments section. So feel free to get your questions in there for your trades, your waivers tomorrow, anything that you want to ask us about. We'll get to those questions in about 20 minutes time. We are going to move on to league-winning wide receivers rest of season that you should be targeting your trades.
There's some spicy ones.
There are. I'm gonna kick it off with the guy I think is going to be a league winner, and that's Amari Cooper.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts before I kind of go on a little tangent here? Do you agree? Do you disagree?
I like it. And what's nice right now is that he's coming off a bad game.
Mm-hmm.
So like you just mentioned with the running back, he only had 3 receptions for 32 yards. Amari Cooper seems to play really good at home and bad on the road.
Mm-hmm.
It's this crazy trend, but he's against Buffalo on the road, so maybe don't start him. But against Tampa Bay in Week 12, locked and loaded, and then they've got a nice little playoff schedule at home in Cleveland with a good quarterback, who I assume you're gonna talk about.
Well, that's part of my argument for him, is that baked into Amari Cooper, who's been a very, decent wide receiver on the year so far. I don't have his current finish in front of me right now. We have wide receiver 14 and a half PPR league so far through 9 games.
Yeah.
Has already included his bye week on a per game basis. Still top 15.
Yeah.
He's been solid. And
Five-
this is a
5
low
touchdowns, too.
volume passing offense right now, unfortunately. You were going to say something, Lando?
Oh, 5 touchdowns as well. Sorry,
Yes, 5 touchdowns, which is 9th among wide receivers. Jacoby Brissett has been the 19th best fantasy points at only 14.91 points per game. The insertion of Deshaun Watson should be very, very interesting, but we've seen Deshaun Watson support fantasy wide receiver 1 DeAndre Hopkins for years, and Deshaun Watson is a massive upgrade to a very competent but low ceiling game manager in Jacoby Brissett. So this team has primarily orchestrated their offense on the ground with Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, who have both been fantastic, Nick Chubb especially. But at a certain point, they're going to let Deshaun Watson do what he does, and that's make plays, that's be a difference maker, and I believe he's going to do it with 2. So Amari Cooper, while he's been good, he doesn't have the same pedigree as some of these other wide receivers he finds himself in company with. But I do like his schedule rest of season: Baltimore, New Orleans, and the Commanders in championship week. I will get a piece of that for sure.
Yeah. What's great about receivers and teams that have really good quarterbacks? It almost doesn't really matter the schedule.
No.
Like Josh Allen and Pat Mahomes and
Well,
with Deshaun Watson coming back, like who cares what the schedule is? But like the bad teams, you want a positive schedule really bad.
Well,
Right?
that's the thing, is like when we're talking about running backs, especially those that aren't involved in the pass catching game, we do want good game scripts. We want them to be able to run the ball, run the clock, and stay involved into the third and fourth quarter. A team like the Browns, I kind of want competitive game scripts. I want
Yeah.
them to have to throw the ball and keep up, and like even if they are down, that's great for wide receivers.
Buffalo and Tampa, the next 2 weeks should be great, and they should be forced to throw the football.
Just a heads up, if you are unaware, Deshaun Watson is able to practice this week. He is not eligible to play until week 13, ironically, at Houston. Who you like, Lando? Who is
we
your
talked about
league winner?
I think we got to go Jamar Chase.
Oh, you're gonna piggyback on that?
I'm gonna, because you know what, T. Higgins is also a really good option, but either Cincinnati wide receiver feel like really good trade targets right now. They're coming off a bye week. What we've said every live is that teams coming off a bye, they forget how good they are. T. Higgins qualifies. Jamar Chase is injured, and I think if you're in a really good playoff spot, I actually already saw a question about Jamar Chase earlier on, which we will get to. But man, Jamar Chase should be that league winning option that you should be able to get on the cheap. People are desperate. The Jamar Chase owner is desperate for wins, and you, the fantasy listener, to the Snap, a loyal listener, you have a deep team. You drafted smart. You've got good players that you can afford to give up. Maybe a solid running back, a solid wide receiver, and just take Jamar Chase off their hands and be in a really good spot come fantasy playoffs. So this
is more so, I think, not a, hey, Jamar Chase is a league winning wide receiver. If you didn't know that, it's not that. It's a PSA to go out and test the waters. If you don't own Jamar Chase, go test the patience of the Jamar Chase owner and dangle something in front of their face and see if you can grab him off of them for cheap. Because let's just say that they are a team that's 500 or just below, and they're on the outside looking in on the playoff picture, and they need to make a move now. They can't wait till week 13, week 14 for Jamar to come back. Their season might be over.
Exactly.
So go see where they're at. I
And you
think
know
it's a
what?
great reminder.
If you are that outside looking in, I don't mind trading him away because he's not doing you any good on your bench. And
Right.
if you miss the playoffs, you're done. So if you can get an Amari Cooper, you can and plus Amari Cooper plus, it can work both sides. Where if you need to trade him away and manufacture wins, um, I mean it's completely in the range of outcomes. We got a super chat, Mac. So
Okay.
let's press the quick pause button and
Quick
talk
pause
to
button.
Jawan here
Yes, sir.
about his big deal.
Jawan says, I got offered Debo, Antonio Gibson, and Jeff Wilson for Jamar Jefferson. Or
Jamar, speaking of elite wide receivers,
running back for Justin Jefferson. I have Sutton, AJ Brown, T. Higgins, and Mike Williams, as well as Kadarius Toney. My running backs are ETN, Montgomery, Gus, and Harris. What do y'all think? Fields is my quarterback. Is that Najee Harris or Damian Harris? Because that does change my answer slightly.
okay.
But we are making a big move for Justin Jefferson, I assume.
You're getting the volume. So he got off. Yeah, he got off for the Debo, Gibson, and Jeff Wilson
It's
side.
Damian. Okay.
So, I mean, both Harrises aren't really starters, right? You can't start either of them.
I almost made an argument for Najee Harris as a pickup. Same like Swift, but I believe in Swift so much more.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is the way I look at it. You have the depth at running back. Montgomery gets an upgrade here due to the Khalil Herbert IR designation. ETN Montgomery should hold things over for you moving forward. You got no ETN this week, though. He's on bye.
Right.
So having Gibson and Jeff Wilson might allow you to, patch a hole this week. Now, if Gus plays, it's fine, but you might be a little bit short on running back this week. However, if you're in a good spot with your record, it doesn't really matter. Sutton, AJ Brown, T. Higgins, Mike Williams is a really nice core. If you add Justin Jefferson to that, it makes the Mike Williams sting feel a little bit less, because I do think that going from Debo to Jefferson is a big upgrade.
So he's trading away Justin Jefferson.
He's trading away Justin Jefferson.
That's how I read this.
Okay. I read it the opposite.
Oh.
But
clarify
maybe,
what side you're getting. Jawan.
Maybe I am reading it wrong.
So I like the Justin Jefferson side.
I do as well. That's kind of where I was heading, is that Gibson and Jeff Wilson are solid pieces, but like didn't Brian Robinson just have like 26 carries? I would be trading Jefferson. Yeah, like Debo is good. He is elite, but he is not elite the way Justin Jefferson is.
Debo's value has plummeted.
And with Elijah Mitchell back on the field, and having Christian McCaffrey as well, we're seeing less work out of him from the backfield, which takes away a little bit of upside. And the passing game just really hasn't been there for them. You kind of seen Kittle take a little bit of a hit. Hasn't really been as elite this year as you would want. Jeff Wilson is fine, but he's in a committee with Raheem Mostert. And Antonio Gibson is the secondary option to B-Rob. So it's like, I like, if you think you need the depth, this is an okay trade, but I think you're okay with Justin Jefferson. Like, I think you can get by this week.
I would rather have your trio of elite wide receivers with Jefferson, AJ Brown, T. Higgins, and just roll the dice in the playoffs with Montgomery and ETN. You're looking really good. Your Fields is your quarterback. You have no one wants to play you in the playoffs. Like, that team is a juggernaut. Debo, Gibson, Jeff Wilson isn't going to strike fear in your opponents. I'm sorry, not right now. No. If you want to trade away Sutton for Gibson, if you need a running back, fine.
Yeah, I think there's a trade that you could do with this team. I just don't know that it has to be with Justin Jefferson.
Yeah. You don't need Courtland Sutton right now based on how good your wide receivers are.
We also have to take into account bye weeks. Antonio Gibson will have a bye week in week 14, and that's one less game that you can use him for.
Right.
So take that into account. I like the Jefferson side. I think that you don't give away the best wide receiver in football. That's a piece that, if Justin Jefferson does what he can do, and that's, 150 plus yards and a score and like 10 receptions, it's like you really can't replicate that on your roster with a multiple, sets of pieces. It's like you just need that one guy to do his thing, and he kind of does that a ton. So
Sometimes those volume trades seem so tempting. It's like, how could I turn that down? But in this scenario, Juwan, I mean, I'm glad you answered the question. You didn't make a mistake trading away currently the best wide receiver in football, that not named Jamar Chase.
Yeah, thank you, Juwan. We appreciate it. Good luck. I hope it works out for you, but I would definitely prefer the Justin Jefferson side. I mean, the guy's so good, man. How can you not have him on your squad?
He's so good. And the Vikings are on a heater.
On a heater, 100% agree. Let's go to tight ends. Do you have a tight end that you want to talk about? Your league winning tight end?
I've got a good one for you, Mac.
Yeah, go for it.
Dalton Schultz.
Oh, Landon and I just made a trade today in our Dynasty League. He is a contender. I am a rebuilding team, and I traded him Dalton Schultz this week. He has no tight end for Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Woof. But we shook things up, and
I had
tell me
Waller
why
and Goddard. I lost Waller and Goddard, and I'm in a tough spot.
That is tough, man.
So they've got a really good strength of schedule right now. I'm gonna just find out the exact matchups they have, and losing this past week to Green Bay, I think is gonna light a fire under.
Did I not call that one? Did I not tell you that was coming down the pipeline? Green Bay just has their number.
He commanded 8 targets. He got in the end zone. I hope Zeke just stays out rest of season. And it doesn't seem like Michael Gallup is taking the leap forward that people wanted. Now, that injury was pretty devastating. So we know with Chris Godwin, etc., that it takes some time for players to really come back. But I think that they got Minnesota, the Giants, Indy, Houston, Jacksonville, Philly, and Tennessee Titans. I think the schedule is good enough. He's on such a good team, and I've mentioned this before when talking about tight ends. You're really looking for targets and then touchdown upside. Yep. And he's got both of those things. He's on a good team that scores points. Dak's back. He likes Dalton Schultz, and he's commanding the targets right now. So if you don't have a Travis Kelce or Mark Andrews, I think he is maybe the 3rd or 4th best tight end rest of season because Goddard's out, unfortunately. Goddard would have been right there with him, but I mean, George Kittle is very inconsistent right now, and it's tough to trust him.
The nice thing, too, with this next 3-game stretch, too, the Giants, Colts, and Texans, they are all in the bottom half defending the tight end.
Love that.
It's a little bit of a soft schedule the next 3, and then some decent matchups in the playoffs with, like you said, Jags, Eagles, and Titans.
It's hard to acquire tight ends because there's not very many good ones. But if for some reason they have multiple tight ends on their team, I'd try to get Dalton Schultz from someone. I like him rest of the season.
Like you did me. You fleeced me.
Yeah. But I mean, you can start, you're tanking, so you can start Clyde and you're guaranteed a 0. So that's what.
Oh, I know. I did. I was super happy to get him in there.
You can meet the league requirements and start a player in the RB spot and still get what you
want. I'm sure there's going to be some questions about Kyle Pitts as a buy low candidate, as a rest of season starter. Are you doing so?
No,
I'm not either.
Yeah, I think I know who you're picking.
Say it.
TJ Hawkinson.
Wow, it's like you read my mind. Why would I want to say TJ Hawkinson, Landon?
Well, because he's on the best team in football.
One of for sure. Yeah, no, I think when we initially talked about him joining the Vikings, it was, do things get better for TJ Hawkinson? And my initial response was, I don't think things get worse. I think they, if anything, get marginally better. I wasn't expecting him to get 9 targets in his first game as a Viking, but he got himself acquainted with the offense very, very quickly, on the field a ton. And, TJ Hawkins is one of those tight ends that can really do it all. He can block, he can, he can do it in the run game, in the pass game, he can get out and catch passes. They are using him as a pass catcher, though. Like, they had Irv Smith. They were sort of limited with what he could do as a blocker. TJ fills all of those roles, so he's on the field a ton, but just involved. And with this Minnesota team having so many weapons now, I mean, Dalvin Cook and Alexander Madison are a great 1-2 punch. And then you have Thielen, Jefferson, add in Hawkinson. I think just from the attention those other two are going to get, you're going to get a lot of TJ Hawkinson volume. And I think that that's one thing that I would be after at the tight end position is volume. And we've seen Irv have some red zone upside. So TJ comes to the Vikings, gets a big boost from the Lions. And I think what you're going to benefit from the most with him is consistency, because that's one thing in Detroit that we didn't get a lot of. We had boom games and then a lot of bust games. I think we're going to see a lot more consistency from Hawkinson here as he, navigates the rest of the season with the Vikings.
Yeah, exactly. I like it. No, it's good. It's tough to trade for tight ends right now, but those are some 2 really good targets.
Also, I want to highlight weeks 14, 15, 16. Now, week 17 against the Packers is the Packers are giving up the fewest points to tight ends right now. But 14, 15, 16, Lions, Colts, Giants, all plus matchups for the tight end.
One thing I want to note as well, a defense on waivers right now that has a phenomenal schedule.
Oh no, the league-winning defense. Are we really doing this?
The Baltimore Ravens.
Oh boy.
Carolina, Jacksonville might be tough. Denver, Pittsburgh, Cleveland might be tough. Then Atlanta, Pittsburgh again. That's a pretty good schedule for Baltimore, and they're locked in, so they're on waivers right now.
I can't believe we're doing this.
Grab the Ravens. Use your priority on the Ravens.
If you play with DSTs though, like these are the little moves that you need to make that, you could think 2-3 weeks down the road or just, pick up defense up after their bye week and stream them. It's a nice little tidbit, Lando. Hey. Can't believe we're doing it, but we did it.
Man, those defensive ranking videos come playoff time, they kill for us.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Are there any quarterbacks that you want to highlight? I mean, Justin Fields' name is probably going to come up here, but like, can you acquire him? That's the question.
It feels like you can, because the Justin Fields owner has another quarterback that's probably named Lamar Jackson or Joe Burrow.
Because of when they picked him up on bye?
When they picked him up off waivers, they spent their money on him, and he has been on fire. What to do with Justin Fields? If quarterback videos did better, we would already done a video on Justin Fields. But I think if you're deep enough, you can acquire Justin Fields. And I think someone might think they're getting away with murder here. It's trading a quarterback for a positional player. Typically, we don't recommend it. But what are you doing at the quarterback position? Is this the time to trade for a quarterback that can help you win your league?
So let's think about it. If you Justin Fields' first big game was week 9, right? That was the 178-yarder.
He's been pretty good since, but like
No, I'm saying week 9 was like
178 was week 9 against Miami. Yep.
So the possible stacks that you could have if you had picked Justin Fields up before that game in week 9, you could have a Dak Prescott, a Russell Wilson, a Daniel Jones. And then in this week, to your point, you could have a Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow. Those could be probably the most probable of the 4 starters. So, in my mind, if you're holding a Prescott, Burrow, and Lamar Jackson, as well as Justin Fields, I think you need to trade one of them. whoever you feel like is going to be your horse for the rest of the season, go ahead and do that. The worst thing that you can do in fantasy is have 2 elite quarterbacks on your team and not take the value, because when it comes down to it, you're always going to start the wrong guy.
And I was just going to say the same thing. The tough decision every week, you're going to start the wrong guy. And
So it's
his
like, if you believe in Justin Fields, trade away Lamar, trade away Burrow, trade away, Dak. And if you don't believe in Justin Fields and you want to cash in on these 2 outrageous games, I mean, the man has 300 yards rushing in the past 2 games.
Yeah.
And
I
what,
know.
3 or 4 touchdowns? Like, he's unbelievable right now, but you could sell that. You could
6
sell that for the
touchdowns on the
world.
ground, 12 through the air.
Yeah.
You could absolutely sell it, and you should
could
be able
sell
to
it.
get a lot.
And the point here would be, don't sell him for another quarterback. Sell him for an upgrade at tight end, at running back, at wide receiver. If you have to package Fields and someone to upgrade someone, like, do it. You shouldn't have 2 elite quarterbacks on your team. So if I have Justin Fields, if he's my only quarterback option and I'm streaming him, like, I'm going to ride it out. If I had him when I had Burrow or Lamar Jackson on bye, I'm probably selling. But I think that's the way that you win. You sell a big week.
So he has 749 rush yards on the season.
Yeah, he's on pace to break the record, the NFL record.
Can you name the running backs that have more rush yards than him?
Oh boy. Okay, Nick Chubb.
Yep, 904.
Yeah. Ooh. I was gonna say, like, Ken Walker probably hasn't been rushing long enough as a starter.
Correct.
Oh man. Jonathan Taylor missed too much time.
Mm-hmm.
This is not great.
Put you on the spot here.
It's okay. It's okay. Let me think. Who else has been really good? Oh, Derrick Henry.
Yep.
Saquon.
Yep.
Is there anybody else who'd be close? I think Aaron Jones just gets too much pass catching work to be in that conversation.
738. So he has less rush yards than Justin Fields.
What does Justin Fields have?
749.
Okay.
So those two running backs.
Who else has been hot? Is Dalvin Cook close?
He's close.
I'm gonna go with he's not there. Josh Jacobs.
Josh Jacobs with
okay.
821. One more running back, which is wild to think, that has more rush yards than Justin Fields.
My guess here would be Travis Etienne.
Nope. Dameon Pierce.
Oh, okay. Do you have the list up in front of you? What does Travis Etienne have?
725.
Oh, so close.
Close.
Okay.
So
wow.
Yeah.
That's wild. And considering that 300 of it came in the last 2 games, like, good for him.
Yeah. I mean, he's been on fire.
Dang.
Wild. Good for him.
Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Any quarterbacks that you are trying to acquire?
I think Justin Herbert's an interesting one that we can talk about.
Okay.
Is he going to get his receivers back? Because when he has his receivers, he is elite. He's a top 3-4 quarterback because he throws a ton of touchdowns. He's very good. His yards are there, but his touchdowns really aren't. I can actually vet that because I'm just talking kind of out of my ass a little bit.
The bigger question here is, when do we think that Keenan Allen's going to make his way back onto the field? Because we haven't seen him since week 2, and it's gone 2 months now.
Yeah.
Do you have any optimism for him to play anytime soon?
So I think they're both practicing this week. But what does that mean? Does that mean they're going to come back? I don't know.
Mike Williams is eligible to come back, I believe, week 12 off of IR.
Is he?
Yeah, he went down in week 8.
Is he on IR or is he just out? I don't think.
No, he was on IR. Yeah, because I have him in an IR slot. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't think he went on IR, but I guess I could be wrong. But So yeah, I mean, if that's the case, then you might not want to do it. I don't know. I don't think typically, Mac, I don't want to trade for quarterbacks, especially like I would trade for, I guess, Lamar Jackson might be one that I would
It's been a
consider
rough
trading.
stretch to the last little bit.
He has been on a rough stretch.
Yep.
He's under 20 points pretty much since he's only had one 20-point performance since week 4.
Yeah, it's been a tough skid for him, and really like they've had good matchups. It seems to me like Lamar has more hesitancy to use his legs than he ever did before. And I don't know if that's something that's coming from the coaching staff or that's just him adjusting his play style for a little bit more longevity. But either way, he's not as mobile as he once was. And that's crazy to say with someone who has 600 plus rushing yards. But
Yeah.
it just feels like he misses so many more opportunities in the games.
Yeah.
But
I think with his schedule like that we discussed earlier with running backs, they have their defense schedule. They have a really good matchup. They're one of the best teams in football still. I think he is a sneaky trade for candidate, and you should be able to get him relatively cheap.
mm-hmm.
That's only if you're really hurting at the quarterback position. If you've been running with Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, streaming it every single week, then yeah, I would try. And you're somehow still in a good spot, I would be looking to trade for Lamar Jackson.
I like it. Let's head to the comment section here. Again, if you are just joining us, please leave your questions, trades, waivers, rest of season outlook. We'll try to get to every single question here. We're probably going to stay live for about half an hour until about 10 Eastern Standard Time. If you can, scoring settings, league format really, really help us out. Is give us as much context as you can, and that will help us give you the best advice.
And
Liam,
toss a like on the video as well. We very much appreciate it.
Trying to get to 3,000 subs. I think we're about 30 away. So appreciate you guys if you are finding us tonight for the first time. Liam joins us. He says, just traded Deonta Foreman and Josh Palmer for Chris Godwin. I get Godwin, win, W or L.
I was excited to answer this question with you because you've been a Godwin truther.
Yeah.
I'm surprised we didn't bring him up tonight, but they're on bye. I mean, they're not really talking about the Bucs this week. I think I like this trade.
I do too, yeah. The thing with Chris Godwin, his average depth of target is still quite shallow, but he's getting 10 to 13 targets a game. And volume is king in fantasy football. If you play in a PPR league, having 5 to 6 fantasy points on top of the yardage and then potential touchdowns that he's going to give you is the ability to make a difference. And so I think when you can rely on that week in, week out, he has such a high floor and an equally good ceiling. So I like the Godwin side.
Yep, I like it.
Palmer gets relegated to tertiary work as soon as Allen and Williams are back. And really this offense is going through Eckler anyways.
Palmer was in a great spot, and I was in a deep dynasty league, and I started Palmer and against you too in our gridiron league, and he really let me down.
Yeah.
It was the DeAndre Carter show. It was tough luck.
It's a tough one, man. BC Gamer Kid trying to move Monty Pickens and maybe James Conner. Any guys you have in mind? Hopefully some of the guys we talked about tonight.
Yeah. In a PPR league. The guys we talked about, I mean, we highlighted Monty with a good schedule. I mean, he doesn't really catch the football. Connor really had a coming out party this past week, getting those touchdowns back on track.
Oh man.
I've got a guy, Ryan.
He is the most touchdown dependent running back in the history of the NFL.
Yeah.
It's outrageous.
Ryan, I guess, commented on our James Conner video, and as per us, we probably hate on James Conner, and he had to victory lap us that he likes our content, but we were wrong about Conner.
No, we're not actually.
Not yet. Still TBD.
Here's the thing: James Conner will have good games, but you want to go on a fantasy points per game average. He's only averaging 10.6 fantasy points per game. That's outside the top 20. We're right about James Conner. Let's not get that twisted.
Yeah, it's.
I mean, Gus Edwards on a per game basis is getting more points than James Conner.
He's touchdown dependent right
Very.
now, and we'll see
Also,
what happens.
where's Ryan's energy been the last 9 weeks? Why do you come back this week?
Yeah, well, exactly right. We didn't know when James Conner was going to be back, and
Yeah.
I was surprised to see. And I told people to start him this week because I was surprised to see that 70% snap share in his first game back,
Mhm.
and we projected him to get that kind of workload, and of course he got the touchdowns like he normally does. But Kyler was out. Kyler steals those touchdowns from him from time to time, and yeah, I mean touchdowns are very difficult to predict.
I think too here, well, we're gonna have lots of questions of who should I trade for.
Yep.
This is just a PSA. Landon and I can sit here and say, this player would be really good for you to target, or this player, or this player. It really just comes down to your league. You have to go and look at the teams that are, just hanging on to a playoff spot or maybe trying to get in, but they have something holding them back. For example, that Jamar Chase owner. Where is the Jamar Chase owner in your league? Are they, undefeated? Because they don't need your trade. They will sit
Correct.
there and just, if they have to, struggle or take a couple losses until they get Jamar back, like they're going to be happy to do that. But if that Jamar Chase owner is sitting at 500 and just can't afford 2-3 more weeks until he's back, maybe you need to go say, hey, I can, as a contender, wait that out, and I'm willing to give you X for Jamar right now so that you can keep your playoff hopes alive. So you really got to try to fit the needs of the other, teams in your league if you're going to get trades done. So, going after somebody without context really doesn't help. So target those teams that have needs and try to fill them and fill your own at the same time.
Yeah, exactly right.
This one's really interesting from Dylan. I'm curious to say what you think here. I've kind of made my mind up on this one, but he's 7-3. He just lost Cooper Kupp. He's in a really good spot to make the playoffs. Wide receivers are Jamar, Hollywood, and DK. So really short-handed. Should he trade Barkley and Chase for Jefferson and Kamara?
I would say it would be a fine trade, but you're 7-3, you're pretty much locked into a playoff spot. You're shorthanded. You don't need to make a trade, but because you're getting Jefferson, one of the best wide receivers, you're trading away the best running back, but you get a pretty good
Return.
uh running back in return. So yeah, I'd be fine with that trade, getting Jefferson Kamara.
Yeah, the thing that it really hurts this team is that you just lost Cooper Kupp. It's like, okay, I lost Jamar, I lost Hollywood, but I can kind of piece things together with DK and Kupp until Jamar gets back, and now you lose Kupp. And it's like, well,
Yeah.
now I'm just staring DK straight in the face in the waiver wire.
Yeah.
So, this is an example of what happens if you slide to 7-4, 7-5, 7-6, and then you get Jamar back. And it's like, well, if I don't win this week, I might be on the outside looking in.
And when is Chase coming back? Like it's hard to say.
It is. The optimistic return was 4 weeks, but it could be closer to 6, and that might not be until week 15, your
Yeah.
first week of the playoffs. So I like this trade.
Yeah.
And trust me, I'm the biggest Jamar Chase fan,
Yeah.
but I would do this deal. You're downgrading Barkley to Kamara slightly, but you are, factoring in the 2+ more games you get out of Jefferson over Chase. I think that's going to be a world of a difference.
Yeah, for sure.
Should I sell Andrews now that Komet is popping off? Please don't.
No, I would
Do
keep.
the
I
opposite.
would sell Kmet if
Yes.
you're going to do that.
Do the opposite, Shaka. Go and sell Cole Komet after 2 really, really big games, back-to-back double touchdown games. Sell that and not Mark Andrews.
Yeah, I like it.
What is Michael saying?
Oh, he's probably talking about Swift when we were talking about Swift. He's responding
Gotcha.
live.
Would we drop Drake London for Christian Watson and waste the second waiver priority?
I have been telling people to drop Drake London, to be honest.
Yeah.
He did have a good game this past week. He got in the end zone. But they're pretty lateral. The Christian Watson is more needed in that Green Bay offense. They need him to be good. And despite the awful drops that he had early in the game, Rodgers still went back to him. He's going to have to continue to be targeted a lot. He was very efficient with his targets. You can't expect that every week, but I don't know, Mac. I think if you need to start this week, I feel more confident starting Christian Watson than I do Drake London. But
Yep.
yeah, second waiver priority. It's I hate those
The,
leagues.
yeah, the tough part with Christian Watson, and we did 2 videos on him today. So one waiver wire, one what to do with Christian Watson. But the tough thing with him is that he didn't have a training camp with Aaron Rodgers. He was injured. He missed the entire thing, so they didn't really get a chance to connect. And we've seen Christian Watson be, a little bit glassy this year. He's been in and out of the lineup. Some things that we can touch on with him is that when he plays, he gets targeted. He has a target rate of 28.2%, which is 13th among active wide receivers. So, like I said, when he's on the field, he's getting the targets. He also has where was it here? Yards per route run 2.5. Again, kind of correlates with the target rate, but 2.5 per yards, 2.5 yards per route run. That's 12th best in the league. So, and not to mention the 3 touchdown game that he just had. A little bit of a coming out party. I do like the situation better for Christian Watson. I can't say with certainty that, his touchdown efficiency is going to stay what it is, but
I can tell you with certainty it will not.
yeah, that's a very fair assumption. I'm gonna take the shot on Christian Watson here. I don't like the volume that the Atlanta Falcons have in the offense. Marcus Mariota just doesn't throw the ball enough. So, with Drake London, you're hoping for a touchdown. Christian Watson has the high ceiling, and I think things change moving forward. So I would go Christian Watson. Yeah.
Cool.
Ravi, 4-6. Team is Kyler, ETN, Jeff Wilson, J-Rob, Rashad White, Hop, Juju, Gabe, Pickens. Do I trade Gabe and Komet for Olave and Najee? I also have Njoku. Yes, you do that trade. You do it today.
Pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Is a Jonathan Taylor trade making sense after the best game of the season?
If you need depth and you can trade for a couple pieces, it's fine to take advantage of that big game. It's one of the hardest things to do in fantasy football is trade high, trade after that big game, because finally Taylor did exactly what we thought he was going to do all season long. Why he was the first pick in fantasy drafts. And yes, he can keep doing that. Getting 38 or 40 touches, whatever he did, was incredible. But yeah, trading him high like this isn't a terrible idea. You just want to get full value for him now. And he was getting sold at way under pennies on the dollar last week.
I think I'm holding Jonathan Taylor merely for the fact that the situation he finds himself is so much better than it's ever been. Number one, they traded away his biggest obstacle in Nyheim Hines. Like anytime that you wanted Jonathan Taylor to get involved in the passing game, it was Nyheim Hines. Anytime that you wanted him to have all of the goal line looks, it was Nyheim Hines. Nyheim Hines is now gone. Number two, his second biggest obstacle, Frank Reich, and his horrendous play calling. He's gone. Insert Jeff Saturday, who had the wherewithal to say, you know what, Matt Ryan is my veteran. I'm going to go with him. Jonathan Taylor is my best player. I'm going to feed him. And look what happened. Jonathan Taylor was the running back 1 on the week. If you played him, he helped you win your week. And I don't see this stopping. Like, Jeff Saturday now looks like a genius. Why would you stop giving the ball to Jonathan Taylor? You're not.
Yep. That's
and Matt Ryan makes so many better decisions in the passing game for JT than Sam Ehlinger ever did. So this is a win-win-win for Jonathan Taylor and Jonathan Taylor owners. I'm gonna hold him.
I like it.
JT, league-winning running back. Go get him.
Yeah. Derek needs help.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go. I've lost 4 in a row and now 4-6. What do you suggest I do? He's got Russell Russell Wilson and Watson at quarterback, CMC, Etienne, Jamal Williams, Mark Andrews, Dulcich, Cortland Sutton, Kirk, D. Smith, Marshall, or I guess Terrace Marshall, Marquise Brown, and Burks. Derek, this is a very broad question. I mean, you got to find a trade partner that that really fits you and needs depth. Your team is solid. You've got Mark Andrews. He's been hurt. He should be back.
Yeah.
You can look to move Cortland Sutton if you want. Christian Kirk just had a huge game. You could look to sell him off that big game. Marquise Brown looks to be coming back and out late after their bye. You could probably drop Russell Wilson and just add someone off the waiver wire.
Yeah, for sure. Check out our waiver vid because there's going to be some names in there that you could definitely stand to add and benefit from. But yeah, Russell Wilson is just taking up a spot on your roster. I think there's some quarterbacks I would stream until Deshaun Watson ready for you in week. What would be week 13?
Daniel Jones. He might, if he's not available, he might be dropped this week because the Lamar or Burrow owner picked him up and it's going to drop him. And he's got a good matchup this week.
Amari Cooper's away game stats are the worst.
Yeah.
Wait until he has Deshaun Watson. Best waiver wire wide receiver to pick up: Rondale Moore, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Allen Robinson. Do we really want to grab Allen Robinson if John Wolford is going to be playing quarterback for?
I don't know if he will. I expect Stafford not to be out super long.
Okay.
So I think Allen Robinson is my pickup. Donovan Peoples-Jones and Ronald Moore are very similar. They're getting targets. They're explosive. They seem like they're good players. They're very close in a PPR league. They're both good players.
In a PPR league, I do lean Rondale Moore. But I think I would take Moore in DPJ over Allen Robinson.
Yeah.
I would prioritize both of them, yeah. Again, it's the same argument I have for Amari Cooper. It's like when Deshaun Watson comes back on the field, volume increases, quality of target increases, and Donovan Peoples-Jones has already sort of made his mark on this offense. I don't see how he disappears.
No, yeah, he commanded 9 targets last week. He looked really good.
Yeah, agreed. We got that one. Okay. Got that one as well. I don't know how, but I'm 5-5. I'm in a 2-flex 12-team PPR with Eckler, CMC, Taylor. God damn. Patterson, Evans, Keenan Allen, Hollywood, Hawk, and Freiermuth. Is there any moves I can make? I see why you're 5-5. Because Taylor's been a little bit frustrating.
Yep.
Eckler and CMC have been holding your team together.
Yep.
Keenan Allen's been missing, so is Hollywood Brown. So you're dealing with some injuries and some inactives.
And CMC had 2 bye weeks, right?
He did. Yeah, that's the other thing. I think with you, Cordero Patterson is maybe something that you can do something with. I love that you have TJ Hawkinson, and you got to get some patience on Keenan Allen and Marquise Hollywood Brown because there's nothing you can do with them. No one's going to trade you for them for anything that you are going to use. So, Isaac, I think you got to utilize the waiver wire, and I think maybe you can make a trade involving Cordero Patterson. At the absolute worst case scenario, you are trading away one of Eckler, CMC, or Taylor for, 2-for-1. Grab another running back and grab another wide receiver that you can use.
Yep. Look at the Goddard owner and put Freiermuth out there because they just lost a really good tight end and they don't want to go to the waiver wire. So you should be able to trade one of Hawk or Freiermuth. I'd prefer to trade away Freiermuth away for a positional player that can start on your team while Keenan and Hollywood are still out.
We appreciate you, Ryan. But again, look at the last.
Yeah, he came. So he said later on here, he said, touchdown regression was expected, but James Conner has a role you're looking for, and he has the volume. He does have those things. I agree with that. And you know what? I mean, he's going to be a fine RB2 rest of season as long as he stays healthy. And he's not the picture of health I faded him in the drafts, and so far it's paid off for me. But I think he's a fine RB2 with RB1 upside because of touchdowns rest of season. If he doesn't get in the end zone, he's probably RB 24, 25.
This is also his only game this entire season with 20 plus carries. So to say that he has the volume, well, he had the volume this week.
Yeah.
But his efficiency was poor, just over 3 a carry, got into the end zone twice. Without it, it's a very different day for James Conner. So I'm not willing to go back and say that the take that I had was wrong on James Conner. I'm willing to say that James Conner will have one of these games every now and then.
Only 69 yards. That's exactly.
Yeah, 21 for 69. It's not like he had some outrageously efficient day. He got into the end zone twice, which has been our biggest thing, is if he gets into the end zone, you're going to be happy, and if he doesn't, you won't.
Yep.
And that's not been off. But hey, it's all good. Appreciate you.
Oh yeah, of course. Appreciate the support.
Josh Allen, starting quarterback. Should I pick up Justin Fields and drop Keenan Allen, Najee, or Pollard? No.
No.
Like,
I understand maybe playing keep away from someone, but I wouldn't drop any of those guys just to grab another quarterback that you will not start. I'll never rank Justin Fields over Josh Allen in any of my rankings rest of season.
It's not to say that it couldn't happen to finish that way, but you're not ranking them that way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's no scenario where you're going to want to sit Josh Allen. And when you do, you're going to get it wrong. And Josh Allen's going to put up 44 points like he did against Pittsburgh this year.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't drop any of those guys. I mean, hopefully you have somebody else on your team that you can drop. But if that's it, then no.
Yeah, if it's a super shallow lead, if you want to drop,
it seems like it's shallow because if Justin Fields isn't rostered by now, it's probably a very an eight team league.
Then you can drop Keenan Allen if you want.
Yep. 661 Beezy. Should I trade the Bills defense and Devin Singletary for Geno, DK, KC defense? I have Carr and Cup. I have Carr. Oh, and Cup is down. Jets and Pats defense hit the waivers. I mean, the defense doesn't bother me either way. I could take them out. I don't really care. I look at this trade as, should I trade Singletary for Geno and DK? And yes, you should.
Sure. That's fine. Yep. Okay. Moving on.
Jeff says, I just traded Lazard and Foreman for Waddle for Waddle. Did I get a dub? The rest of my team is Geno and Kirk, Eckler, Saquon Patterson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, now Waddle, Marquise Brown, Judy, Palmer, Pickens, tight end Kelsey, 7-3 in a 10-man league.
Eat those dubs.
Yeah, I think this is a good move.
Good move for sure.
Lazard to Waddle is a really big upgrade, and you take Foreman out of the equation, you're still really flush with Eckler and Saquon, and then Cordero is a nice flex play. So the only thing that you're missing is Brown and Judy for the next little bit, but Brown should be coming back soon. But you can hit the waivers and grab somebody for a flex.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. What's your outlook on Olave rest of season?
I think he's good, but obviously Dalton just isn't the quarterback for him. I think if we got Jameis Winston, which we might see soon, I think that improves the outlook for Olave. I think he's a good, very good wide receiver. He might not give you the upside that we thought he might provide early in the season, but he's just a very good wide receiver.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. His volume's been awesome.
Good wide receiver Landry, 3 for sure.
Yeah. Currently 8-1, kind of weak at the wide receiver position in a 12-man league. Got JT and Saquon at running back. Should I consider a trade to pick up maybe 2 middle of the pack wide receivers, or push to get a big name?
I'd push to get a big name.
Yeah, I mean, if you're considering parting with Taylor or Saquon, then yeah, you should be getting a nice return. I mean, 8-1. How do you not make it work off the waiver wire? Especially this week, you could probably pick up a Christian Watson, Kadarius Toney, options and maybe take some flyers. I don't know that I trade Taylor and Saquon. I think those are like the cornerstones of your team.
Yeah.
And
You
if
can
you're going
always
to, you better get at least 2 assets in return.
you can find the Christian Watsons of the world off the waiver wire, Kadarius Tonys. It's hard to find those running backs unless someone goes down.
Correct. It is tough. Justin, it's a tough predicament. I think with you being 8-1, like you're guaranteed probably a spot in the playoffs, and JT and Saquon are just gonna give you such a high floor. So I think I would stay there and just try to make it work off the waivers. If not, between the two, I'd probably move JT because you'll get the most for him, and make sure you get 2 assets there.
You think you get more for JT than Saquon?
I think so. I think people have a tendency to react to recency.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's a
recency
very
bias is a hell of a thing.
that's a good point.
Probably going to move on a trade that involves me giving up Fournette, David Montgomery, and Christian Watson for Christian McCaffrey.
Oh yeah,
I have Kamara, Kenneth Walker, AJ Brown, and Devontae Adams. Thoughts?
love it.
Dang. Yeah, I think that's good. I mean, I would trade Fournette and Montgomery straight up for CMC, and if you grabbed Watson off the waiver wire and this is the little thing you need to throw in as a sweetener, then yeah, like get it done.
Yeah, great move. That's the kind of league winning moves that we love to see. I think.
Martin Van Buren. My record is 8-2. And 3 weeks ago, I traded T. Higgins, Dameon Pierce. After my running back Breece Hall got injured, did I get the worst end of the trade?
Um,
I don't think so.
no, you keep winning, Martin. So that's great news.
Yeah.
And Dameon Pierce, like I just mentioned, is a top 5 rushing back on the season. Higgins is great. We talked about him. We like T. Higgins. Jamar Chase will come back. No, it's fine. They're close. Like they're both really good players, but you needed a running back because of Breece Hall, and you're good, man.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of expected a little bit more out of T. Higgins with Jamar going down. He's been the wide receiver 18 weeks 7 through 9, the weeks without Jamar Chase. So, I mean, Jamar went down in week 8, correct? And then they were on bye this last week. Let me.
So
yes,
Jamar last played on week 7, and he finished that game. You're right. So he was out on
so
week 8.
weeks 8 and 9. He's been the wide receiver 18. So, wide receiver 2. I expected a little bit more, but Dameon Pierce has been fantastic. So I think you got the better end, my man. Yeah. Sitting at 7-3 in first, but tied with 2 other people. What do I do with Jamar Chase? Running backs are Eckler and Jacobs. Wide receivers are AJ Brown, Juju, Olave, and Cortland Sutton.
Yeah.
You stay patient, Lucas.
Yeah. Losing Juju hurts. Looked like he was in a good spot. We still don't know if he's going to be out for an extended period of time, but having Olave and Sutton will be fine for you while you wait for Jamar to come out. You don't need to be first in the league, Lucas. You're going to be in the playoffs no matter what. Sounds like with that team. So yeah, you're good. Hang tight.
Sorry, I was just answering a text there. Suave JP, who would you try and package out of my team for an upgrade? Lamar and Fields at quarterback. There it is. Running back, Chubb, Etienne, Walker, Swift, Jeff Wilson. Good running backs. Elijah Mitchell. Amon-Ra, AJ Brown, Higgins, Pittman, tight ends, Kelsey, Pitts. I mean, dang. Playing in a shallow league, most likely.
Yeah, team is great.
I would trade guys. I would trade from this week in specific. Justin Fields, dangle him in front of your league mates. I would also trade either Jeff Wilson or Elijah Mitchell, coming off big games, and I would go and target a wide receiver upgrade. I think that's the one spot you could probably be a little bit more elite, but you are elite everywhere else.
Yeah, I mean, what I would do is go to the Goddard owner and hope that they don't have a good quarterback. Look at Pitts and Fields; those are 2 big names. So go to him and try to get an elite piece off of them. Fields has been on a heater. You have Lamar, you're fine. If you want to put Lamar and Pitts together, go ahead, do that, and see if you can get get a good return. And yeah, whatever you want to target, you're fine with. Like because Etienne and Walker on a bye this week, if you want, and Jeff Wilson too. So it's a tough bye week, and starting Swift is risque. If you want to target a running back, you could do that.
Eric says I'm 7-3 in a 12-man league, full PPR. Wide receivers are Amon-Ra, Pittman, Terry McLaurin, Gabe Davis, and Jarvis Landry. Running backs are Eckler, Swift, Mostert. Should I make a trade? I'm thinking of getting Cooper for Pittman and Landry.
I prefer Cooper over Pittman and Landry. So yeah, I like that deal.
Yeah.
Pittman is one of my most disappointing wide receivers of the year.
Should I pick up Rachaad White, Gus Edwards, or Alexander Madison?
Rachaad White, I think, is what I would do, Dean. If you need a start this week, you can pick up Gus Edwards. I don't know if he's going to play or not. That's the only risky part. But yeah, Rachaad White would be my guy. Lucas, don't worry about it.
Yeah,
we got you, brother.
Yep. Okay. Sweet. Knox for Komet. Would you trade Curtis Samuel for Kadarius Toney?
Feel
like the same player.
Yeah, Curtis Samuel has been pretty disappointing lately, and I was kind of out on him. I didn't think the production could keep up. So if you want the player on the better team, you go with Toney. And then Knox and Komet. Komet got banged up late in the game. Yes, 1-for-1. I'd probably rather have Komet rest of season.
Oh, but what? The Dawson Knox truther?
I mean, Komet looks legit. It just I don't know if he's hurt or not right now. So yeah, they're kind of both middling trades. Beezy.
I would take Cole Komet just because he's hot. And
Stay
Curtis
hot.
Samuel, Kadarius Toney feel like the same player. I would probably rather Curtis Samuel just for the lack of target share, let's just say. Like the ball's going less places in Washington than it is Kansas City.
Yeah, they're just not. Yeah.
Do we read the Twitch chat or should we go to YouTube? We get everything funneled to us through one platform, Dean. So we see your chats. They just kind of come to one place. So if you're watching on Twitch, that's fantastic. Yeah, we get them.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. I mean, I don't disagree, Suave. They're close.
Yep. My QB, sorry, I'm reading the one below. 10-0. Running backs are Barkley, Etienne, Pierce, and Swift. Wide receiver Jefferson, Chase, Godwin. Ooh, you got Jefferson and Chase. Tight end is Dulcich. Should I trade Pierce and Dak for Jonathan Taylor and Justin Tucker? Kicker trade. There's a lot going on here.
Yeah. He's got Lamar already, so we can afford to lose Dak.
Yeah.
He's trading away Pierce and getting away Jonathan Taylor and Justin Tucker. Going for that difference maker at the kicker position.
The answer to this trade is yes. You should upgrade Pierce with Jonathan Taylor and trade away Dak to make it happen. Dak is sort of irrelevant if you have your quarterback being Lamar, and he's done his bye week now. So that's fantastic. I think the one place that you could definitely upgrade your team is that tight end. If you were going to make another move, but I would definitely execute this trade and then maybe look to make another one where you upgrade Dulcich to something else.
Yeah, if you could somehow get a stack with Mark Andrews, that would be spicy. Who?
Swift for Pierce. Swift and Pierce for Andrews. I think that's giving too much.
Yeah. You maybe just Swift for Andrews or Pierce or get Andrews in that deal instead of Tucker. That'd be spicy.
Trade Jeff Wilson for Swift. Chat. Yes. Get the Swift side.
Yeah.
Come on. You're crazy. You're crazy if you take the Jeff Wilson side.
I mean, when's the point where you stop believing in DeAndre Swift?
Never.
Well, there you go.
Do you want to make a little bet from week 11 on Jeff Wilson versus DeAndre Swift?
Well, Jeff Wilson's on bye this week, so 12 on, sure.
I thought I had you on that one.
No.
Do you want to do week 12 and on?
Sure.
All right, let's do it.
Okay. They're
Oh,
responding
Jacobs
to...
or ETN? I would take the ETN side.
Yeah.
In a
ETN.
full
I mean,
PPR?
Michael, this is one of those things where now I could have said to wait till next week because ETN's on bye, but you can't probably, right? So
Mhm.
if you have a good replacement for Jacobs this week, it's fine. But if you need a running back start, I would just keep Jacobs because you gained that week.
Millie Mills, thoughts on Mostert?
Yeah, they split the backfield in Miami. He's good. If he gets in the end zone, you're happy. If he doesn't, he's going to be average.
Do we think Monty bounces back now that Herbert is hurt? I think by default,
Yeah,
we're gonna have a lot of touches. So
yeah,
vintage David Montgomery incoming.
I think so. If he gets a full snap share, and he will. I'm expecting him to get that anyways. Yeah, he should be good. Talking 20 plus carries.
Michael asking if he should move Olave if he can, or should he hold?
I think we like the hold.
I like the hold as well. I think what you're looking for in fantasy football is somebody who has a lot of volume, and Chris Olave's had a ton of that this year. So, and that's partly due to no Jarvis Landry, no Michael Thomas, but that's going to stay much of the same.
Yep. Next we got user Joe Njoku for Higbee. I think we thought Njoku might play last week. He was declared out. I think we should see a target increase for Higbee without Cup there. So, yeah, Njoku has Watson coming back in a couple weeks, but I'm fine with Higbee, I guess.
Yeah, I'm fine with Higbee. I mean, this Rams team is going to be challenged to make up for the targets that are lost through Cooper Kupp. It's going to have to go somewhere. I don't know that it goes into anyone in particular, but I do think, we saw Tyler Higbee heavily targeted in the beginning of the year. We could see him step into another role where he has to be targeted. And he's been a trusted option. Can Stafford get back healthy? I hope so soon. But yeah, I like Higbee's outlook more so than Njoku.
Millie Mills stashed Rashad White here. Good stash. I like it. It looks like he was declared the starter even after their bye week. So that's a nice little spot for.
The one thing that we see time and time again, year over year, after a bye week, rookies tend to take on different roles and
More roles. Yeah, better
more
roles.
more responsibility. We saw Rashad White get the start in Germany, and yes, Leonard Fournette left the game, but it was really interesting to see how Rashad got the start, and then as soon as Lenny was out, he was just fed. 22 total attempts on the ground is great.
Did you hear the thing that Lenny got his passport hours before their flight left?
What?
Yeah, apparently he didn't have a passport. So
that is the thing. When I was living in West Virginia, a lot of my teammates, I was like, hey, you guys should come up to Canada. Like, there's some great golf courses. I'd love to have you up. Be awesome. And a lot of my teammates are like, yeah, dude, like I would love to come, but I don't have a passport. Like, it was a very common response for American people.
Yeah.
Not to say that that's a stereotype or blanket statement, but like a lot of my teammates were like, yeah, I just don't have one.
Yeah. And news to everyone watching. Yeah, we're from Canada. So
yeah, north of the border, man.
We got some snow up here now.
You do. I don't have it yet, but
yeah.
we were minus overnight, and to wake up with the first, that first frost. You're like, damn, I got to start my car at least 10 minutes. I got to scrape all the ice off. Like, it sucks.
Oh yeah, it's coming.
Oh,
Luke. We both that.
Double click. Luke says my team is Mahomes, Kamara, Foreman, D-Hop, Lamb, Higbee, Pollard, Zeke, Cordero Patterson, DJ Moore, Brian Robinson. Who should I package? Trade for what?
So he
trade for what is tough.
Yeah, he traded Pittman Jr., Jeff Wilson Jr. for Lamb last week. Great move.
Nice move, Luke. Well done.
I've been out on Patterson, and he proved me wrong week 1. He proved me right week 2 back from injury. It's tough because he doesn't have a ton of value. Neither does DJ Moore or Zeke. So you don't have. I mean, you could trade Foreman. I think, Luke. You could look to shop Foreman around and try to get some value for him. Can't play the Falcons every week, right?
True. Sorry, I just read something in my group chat that was hilarious. Thanks to 10 guys. I always give likes to fantasy streams, but you guys especially deserve it. Thanks for being so kind to answer these questions. No problem, man. Appreciate you coming by. We wouldn't have questions if it wasn't for you guys. So happy to help. Parkour. Is this Andy? Missed the joke. Cool. I'm currently 7-3, first in rankings, tied with 1, but expecting to lose because of Christian Kirk and ETN on buys. Kenyon Drake in for ETN. Would this one work? Yes.
Yep, should be fine. We still don't know about Gus being back yet.
Mostert's still worth it, or is it Wilson's job? I think it's to be determined, but I don't see this transitioning away from a committee.
Yeah, they're going to get a split workfield. It does. It was, I believe, in Wilson's favor this past week. Yeah, 61% of snaps. Yeah, still TBD. I just made a bet with Mac for Jeff Wilson. Yeah, they're going to have decent value. I think they're both flex-worthy options going forward, and you're going to be happy with one and not with the other. It's but this Miami offense just scores so much. So you're all right with either one in a spot start.
Should I trade my Amon-Ra St. Brown for AJ Brown?
Yeah, I prefer AJ Brown.
I prefer AJ Brown, but I think if you're in a full PPR, it's probably a lot closer than we think.
Watching that game on the weekend, and Mac and I are both Swift owners, and Amon-Ra, 11 targets, 10 receptions.
Yeah.
Guy was unstoppable.
And AJ Brown's coming off of a very poor game after completely dominating. So, it's a different style of play between the two. They're very different players. I do prefer AJ Brown as well, but if you're in a full PPR versus a half or even a standard, I would probably lean Amon-Ra on a full and AJ Brown in a standard. Half is close.
Yeah, that's fair.
Cam got offered Swift and Godwin for AJ Brown and Brian Robinson. Non-PPR thoughts. I would take the Swift and Godwin side.
Yeah,
but I am a Swift apologist.
Yeah, so. AJ Brown is the best player in that deal in a standard league. I believe he's in the best offense. I mean,
the thing is here, if DeAndre Swift returns to form, which I think he's going to, then you win this deal.
Right.
But if he doesn't, the Brown Robinson side will definitely be better because I do think in a standard league that Brown is better than Godwin for one, his touchdown upside, and two, his ability to go downfield. And
Gibson got banged up at the end of that game.
I'm just not sold on Brian Robinson. I know he gets the touches. He doesn't impress me. He really doesn't.
Completely agree. But he got 26 attempts last week.
I know.
I don't know why. I think Gibson's a better player, but that's beside the point. He was only on 52% of snaps, and basically when he's on the field, he got the football. That means. So
this one's tough, man. I think, Cam, it all comes down to if you're willing to bet on DeAndre Swift, and if you are, I think it could work out for you. And if you're not, I think the AJ Brown and Brian Robinson side is fine.
In a full PPR league, I think the Swift and Godwin side presents way more upside. In a standard league, it is different. It's like the opposite of the last question.
So we just want to say, love your guys' content style. Thanks for being available. You're welcome, man. I think that's the beauty of what we do in the little community that we have. But I like having you in here. I see you're active in the chat. You're giving out some good advice. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
Should I trade Jalen Hurts and DK Metcalf for Mark Andrews and Lamar Jackson? Whew.
Jalen
Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, we can call that a wash.
Yeah, they're both really good. I mean, yeah.
Would you trade DK for Mark Andrews is the real question. And DK Metcalf is on bye this week.
Yeah. Mark Andrews is that positional advantage, which I love to get. He's more attainable now than he ever has been, coming off a couple injuries. Feels like you're paying a lot for that with DK.
I think it all comes down to, quite honestly, what else do you have at wide receiver? Because if DK Metcalf is your wide receiver 1 or wide receiver 2, you can't do the deal.
And who did you lose at tight end?
Yes.
Like, do you have? I don't know who you have. Do you have a Dawson Knox? Because yes, that's a big, massive upgrade, of course.
Yep.
If you have a TJ Hawkinson, yes, it's an upgrade, but less so.
Yeah. Michael says, start Jamal Williams this week over Swift.
We should just hedge. You say Swift, I say Williams.
No, so I honestly think, like, if you own them both, and you just want to guarantee touchdowns and touches, you play them both. Right. That limits your upside, but it guarantees you the points because the Lions are scoring. So if I had to choose one over the other, I'm just going to start Jamal Williams until things change, because Jamal Williams has been great.
Yeah, he's been outscoring him even since Swift has moved back.
Yep. So I sadly would just do that.
Yeah.
Stan coming back. Wide receivers: T. Higgins, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Justin Jefferson. Tight end is Pitts.
Right. Okay. So yeah, it's a big upgrade.
It's a very big upgrade. I think you can make it work with Higgins and Justin Jefferson. The Keenan Allen, Mike Williams disappearance is definitely hurting you, but I would make the trade. I would move from Pitts to Andrews for sure.
Could you put Mike Williams in that deal instead?
I doubt it.
Probably not.
No. Who should I flex? Kind of leaning towards Brian Robinson, not gonna lie. Let me see if I can find your team again, Luke. Yeah. Oh yeah, this was the. Okay, gotcha. So Kamara, Foreman are in. Hopkins and Lamb are in. I'm gonna assume that Higbee's your only tight end there.
If Zeke is still out, I'd play Pollard.
Pollard would be the number one. I would go Pollard, B-Rob, then DJ Moore, then Cordell.
Yeah, something like that. If Zeke plays, you could potentially go away from Pollard.
Yeah.
And maybe Gibson's out, and then you're laughing.
Olave or Swift in a non-PPR. I think you just got to go Olave.
Yeah, I think you kind of do too, Cam.
Yeah, he's the more reliable option right now. I hate to say it. I believe in DeAndre so much long term, but on this coming week, I'd still just go Olave.
Yeah.
I won't lie. I dropped ETN at the start of the year because he was trash, but then I had to trade up for him. Dude, I've been there, man. In Justin Jefferson's rookie season in a keeper league, I drafted him for $3 because I was so high on him. And then I cut him in week 3 or 4. I can't remember. And he went on to be an $8 keeper. The team that picked him up won the league and then has just never looked back ever since. So we all make our fair share of mistakes. It's okay, though. We're human. It happens.
Oh, man. I've been a Kenneth Walker. I feel that, Luke. Sorry. There you go.
Yeah, go ahead. Hey.
Hey,
look, we'll pour one out for you.
Yeah, seriously.
It happens, dude. It happens. It is what it is. I'd like to say we learned from them, but like we don't. Because sometimes it's like, I drafted this rookie, I believe in them, and then it's like, they're just not getting the workload, they're just not becoming the starter, and then we drop them, and then it just like magically happens, and then we're like, oh, are you kidding me?
I know.
Like, think back, Breece Hall at the start of the year is like, why is Breece Hall not getting the ball? Why is Michael Carter the starter week 1? This doesn't make sense. And then Breece Hall is the running back 6 by week 7 on an absolute tear, and then gets injured. But
I mean, and then it happens.
We can't see things happening
the other way, where Garrett Wilson looks like he's a stud, the next Justin Jefferson, and then all of a sudden he just goes.
Zach Wilson comes back.
Sorry, Zach Wilson comes back.
Free Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Rank Gus, Pacheco, Mitchell for waiver wire. Mitchell, Pacheco, Gus.
Yeah, I think so. They Shanahan came out and said that it's going to be split between Mitchell and McCaffrey.
I'll just bring this up because we talked about it earlier, but how you don't have Christian McCaffrey in on for a second, third, and goal
On the field.
on the field, like whether he touches the ball or not is your call as the coordinator. But if you put him on the field, you line it up as a 2-back set. Christian McCaffrey's going to draw so much attention as a receiver, especially. Like, just have him run a little sweep.
Misdirections.
On the
all
weak side,
kinds of stuff.
misdirection. Like, just get them to pay attention. Because if you don't have him on the field, that's just one guy you don't have to worry about. And he's someone that can draw double coverage. So I didn't understand why he wasn't on the field. It really
And why he
saddens
didn't get
me.
the ball too. I mean, giving Mitchell 3 carries at an end zone just is unsettling.
Yeah,
and
doesn't make sense.
We mentioned the competent coach theory. Like, it's hard to project that sometimes, but we can only go after trends and what we're seeing and what the stats are saying at the end of the day.
And we kind of talked about this one already, but this might be vintage David Montgomery, where he just gets 20 to 25 carries and does his thing. We're hopeful that things improve for him, but I mean, the one thing that we've never had David Montgomery facing is a very, very mobile quarterback in Justin Fields. He's never had that in competition for his job. So we'll temper expectations a little bit, but I am a little bit more bullish on Montgomery moving forward.
And is JT back? Yeah, we think JT is finally back. Yeah, I think he could be close to CMC rest of season, especially
Jeff
if
Saturday,
he's getting
baby.
that 94% snap share that he hasn't seen since last year.
Luke said he lives in Michigan. Just went to Michigan last week. Yeah, for the Lions-Packers game. Whoops. Detroit was great. Literally saw everything he did for a year and still dropped him. Yeah. Oh. It happens. I just gonna say it happens, man.
You need to start, and you can't just stash everyone. Like, I get it. You can't project injuries either. Like Rashad Penny, he could still be playing, and then Ken Walker could be
right. Yeah, things had to happen for us to get here. Let's acknowledge that for starters. But it doesn't make us feel any better when we do get there. So
like
we've all made our fair share.
Rashad White was everyone's favorite stash for the longest time, and slowly he's dropping. His ownership percentage drops, and Leonard Fournette could have went down any of those weeks and didn't.
Sure.
Right? And he would be kind of the same situation.
Agreed. I think the only thing here is you can just laugh. You find a way to laugh about it. It is what it is. Aunt and uncle live in Canada, owns Sunset Produce. Oh, cool. Yeah, we are from Canada. I am from the Toronto area, and Landon is from Thunder Bay. So he's just north of Minnesota by about 6 hours. So we live in the same province, but we are like 24 hours away if you drive. It's very, very big province.
Closer to 16, but it's okay.
No, it's not.
I've driven it
to get to Peterborough.
To get to Guelph, I drove 16 hours.
Okay, so Guelph to my place
is what
2
hours. So yeah,
19
hours.
Okay, maybe it was a bit high. You also speed to break the law. Don't take washroom breaks or food or gas. You just you might as well just fly.
I am snowing. We had a snowstorm today. I got about a foot of snow outside, Luke. So big shovel day. You got the winter tires on.
Worst, dude.
Yeah.
Those days are coming, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, appreciate you guys coming. Thanks for the new listeners who dropped in tonight. You guys made the stream so much fun. We do this each and every Sunday. So if you want to get your start sits ready for Sunday, come on by 90 minutes before game time. We'll be here for you, and good luck. We're in for hopefully a good game this week with the Packers playing Thursday night. It's always a good one for me. Packers Titans should be interesting.
Yeah.
And you guys have a great week. Get those trades going. Join the Discord if you'd like to. And we'll see you guys soon. Have a good
Good
week.
luck, everyone.